Welcome to One Roof Podcast. Join us for inspiring conversations with roofing industry leaders and innovators. Let's connect, learn, and grow together under one roof.
What's up, guys? It's Gene Savage here with One Solutions Podcast. I'm excited to get into it today. Quick overview. We have some heavy hitters in the industry here. We got Billy Hakenson, CEO and President of ProWest here in Arizona. Tom Trickel and Jimmy Roush, who are not only senior project managers and have been in the game for a very long time, they also oversee key accounts and commercial within ProWest. So going to get into it today, talk about background, how you guys got into the space, what the industry's done for your lives, and just general motivation, how you guys keep it going. I mean, this is a completely different game being in this industry, especially for as long as you guys have, and what that looks like, many years into the space and what keeps you motivated. Before we get into it, though, I do want to shout out, we have a roadshow event here in Scottsdale, Arizona on March 28th. It's at Topgolf, Scottsdale, from 11:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. We have keynote speakers such as Danny Pesci, Latinos in Roofing. Scott Riopel is going to be there speaking. There's some heavy hitting guys. More than welcome. It's a free event. There will be a link attached with this. Go ahead and click that link. Submit your RSVP. We'd love to see you out there. So, yeah, let's get into it. All the intros out of the way.
All right.
Yeah, like I said, I want to talk about some background stuff. I think the best place to start would be Billy. Obviously a CEO and president, kind of how you got into that space, what that looks like, and then we'll just jump around. We'll just start talking. So
Awesome. A lot of luck. Took a lot of luck and a lot of hard work to get to where I'm at today. Been in the industry for a little bit over 8 years. Was a chief operating officer of a company prior. Dealt with a lot of office work, rise and grind, 9 to 5, or 9 to 8 p.m. or
9 to
whenever.
9.
Yeah, 6 a.m. to midnight. It's a ton of work, and I had to get a ton of experience and work with a lot of different people and learn sales and learn operations and learn finance and learn marketing and learn canvassing and all the things we've done in the past, and just tons of growth and a ton of different ideas and roll with the punches. And I got very lucky, perfect timing of me starting with ProWest and the outro of somebody else who ran ProWest, and then me coming in, and it's been a wild ride. Came over here and we've experienced a ton of growth and a ton of onboards and recruiting and all the different things we've opened up with the phone room and canvassing and different recruiting platforms, the veteran programs and out of prisons and the sober community. There's just been a ton of different things we've opened up and a lot of doors we've opened up and a lot of success we've seen since I've started about 9 months ago, and it's pretty cool. So,
yeah, the veteran program is something that's really interesting. Maybe give a little bit more insight into that for those people who don't know. I mean, it's a really cool thing coupled with Hustle 2.0. I mean, a lot of that's really cool second chance stuff.
We're very diverse, so any walks of life, people who come into ProWest, you could see just about anything. But over the past, I think a month ago, we started working with 2 veteran programs. We have yet to receive any as of yet, but we've ironed out details and the deal with these 2 veteran programs to pull guys out of the military and help them get into real life, and try to pull them in and get them recruited into doing project management. They'll still be paid by the military for their 90 days. So it's kind of like a train program, and we're pulling from really across the nation. So what I run is Arizona, New Mexico, North and South Carolina, opening up in Nevada. I'm going to be pushing these programs in these different markets. They also, One Solutions is a lot bigger than what I run as well. Texas, Chicago, Colorado, Georgia, Pittsburgh. A ton of different places.
Yeah. Philadelphia. Iowa. We're everywhere.
Yeah, opening this up to the entirety of the org and trying to help out our veterans. Because it's hard to get out of the military and go straight into the real world and not have any kind of idea of where you're headed and what you're doing. So I think it's going to be a really cool thing. And then the prison program, getting guys out of prison and getting them back into the real world, moving and grooving, trying to make it so they don't go back into the same things that they were doing prior. That got them in there in the first place, trying to show them a new way of life. So we got that, and people who are trying to get sober and like my background, I've got 9 years since I've changed sober, you know, and roofing industry changed my life completely. Yeah. You know, I've been doing this almost since when I first got sober, and I didn't know what else to do. I was in construction for forever, you know, and didn't know roofing can lead to the life I live today. Yeah. I really didn't. And I didn't see what it could do to all the people's lives that, you know, I surround myself with.
No idea.
And the success you can have. You know, nobody thinks you're going to be in roofing and being successful. That's right. You know, you're going to be banging nails and doing tear-offs and just working your fucking ass off every single day and getting burnt and, you know, falling off ladders and doing this and do that. But no, it's like there's like a real relationship building. There's real community. There's real money to be made. And if you're successful in the roofing industry, that's doctor money. Yeah. You know, it really is. If you're really good at sales and you have that motivation and that grind, and you go out there every day and you learn this industry and you gain that knowledge and you start building those relationships, you can make anything, any kind of money. Yeah. You know, and then you dive into commercial stuff, like I know we're going to be talking about in a bit, and you dive into commercial and property management and even just the residential stuff, and you get that referral process going. It's turn and burn, you know, and you're also helping the community at the same time. You know, you're helping people from experiencing all these leaks and their valuables and all the stuff in their homes. You're protecting, you know, their biggest investment, you know, so it's a win-win. You can make good money and you can also help your community. So.
Yeah, it's crazy. You said, I remember my background was in like power plants and mines, and I'd been in the trades for a long time before I got into roofing. And a buddy of mine was like, you know, why don't you take a look at this? And it's like, oh, I don't want to do the residential stuff. You know, like I've already done the heavy industry, and I had gotten into sales at that point. I was like, what's the difference in roofing? But this dude had like a new truck every time I saw him and wore a suit. And I was like, all right, maybe he's onto something. But that is a good transition. It's like the success and the difference of life that can happen in the space. And that's where I'd, you know, point to you guys. It's like, where do you guys see the difference from before you entered the space versus when you first got into the space versus now, right? Years and years into it. Like, the game was different when you got in, right? The entire industry was different when you got into it. Like, what did that look like? And either of you can, you know, like I said, we're just hanging out. Yeah.
Well, for me, so kind of the same boat Billy was in. I mean, I had a very successful medical sales career. I was a clinician in the medical field for years. You know, alcoholism got the better of me. Yeah. It did. And I kind of burnt that world to the ground. I couldn't get a job back in medical sales. It was really hard. I was very successful at one point, you know, and I knew one of the guys that owns this company. I mean, I was valeting cars at restaurants I used to take people to when I got this job. I was valeting at night, knocking doors during the day, hustling, grinding, you know, trying to make this work. And, you know, I sit here today and look back on those almost 8 years of being with ProWest and just think, oh my gosh. Like I joke about, you know, when I first started this, I had a hatchback Mercedes. Sounds really cool, but it was old. It was really old. Some of you guys, you remember it. Mm-hmm. You know, I was throwing drip edge in the back and bundles of shingles, and it's riding like this.
Just blowing out of suspension.
It was not pretty. That thing, that one of the wheels fell off of it. I ended up driving my brother's in-laws Astrovan at one point.
Which is a huge upgrade.
Which is a huge upgrade for them, because I could at least fit stuff in there.
Yeah.
You know,
trying to make it.
Just trying to make it. Yeah. I had no plan B.
Yeah.
There was no plan B. And I just grinded and worked, and ProWest gave me the chance. And here I am. You know, I have a, you know, like very expensive, nice truck out there. I have a team, you know, of guys that are underneath me. I've worked with both my sons. I'm partnered with one of my sons now. I mean, ProWest has given me a life beyond my most wildest dreams. Yeah. I made a lot of money selling medical stuff. I make more money today than I did then. Yeah. And I make good money. Yeah. And I know what the doctors that I called on make. I make more money than some of those doctors.
We need to borrow some money now.
Yeah. Let me get $20.
Well, anyway, I'm just saying. Well, it's not that much. But no, I mean, it's just a beautiful life, and the community that we have within ProWest is amazing. Yeah. It's like, it's family.
Yeah, the culture's something else.
The culture's, I mean, you guys have only experienced for the last, you know, little while. We've been here for, 7, 8 years.
7, 8 years.
And it's just watching the transformation. When I started, there was 15 guys at ProWest.
Yeah.
The last time I looked at the org chart, there was like 240 or so.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
It's growing hard.
Hard.
Hard and heavy.
Yeah.
It's hard and
It's
heavy.
great.
It's good. I've seen the ebb and flows. I've seen the good and the bad.
Yeah.
But with ProWest, they've been very nimble in a lot of spaces. We've had that conversation. Sometimes we're not so nimble. Sometimes we are. But it's just a great company. I tell the story to guys, they're thinking about coming to ProWest. There was a point, we move up different tiers of compensation as we, have more success and put more roofs on. And they were bumping us up 5%. Hey, you hit the plateau, to the next thing. We'll get you set up. We'll give you that extra 5%. Great. Like 3 months went by, and one of the owners calls me. He's like, hey, man, we made a mistake. It was like there's a transition of office managers and stuff. We made a mistake. We didn't get you that 5%. We'll put it in your next check. We'll take care of it. What? Like the ethics and morality of that, because they could have easily just flicked the switch and not said anything unless they got their hand caught in the cookie jar.
And instead they
came to me proactively and put the money in my check. Yeah. That's who I work for.
Yeah.
So,
and it's cool to see, obviously I wasn't there when it was 15, but at 240 people on Fridays, you can still feel it. Everybody's laughing and joking around, and you know what I mean? Like, you can feel it when you walk into the office. It's like,
it's still a small company.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to have it.
It's got the small company feel for sure.
Yeah.
It's easier to have good culture when you got 15 people, or easier. If you got a close-knit group of people, you know what I'm saying? But then you get 240 and everyone's different. It's hard to keep that family, together. And it's just a little bit different,
Yeah, it's crazy to think about where it's come from. I have a little bit different background. Billy talked about people coming from other industries, people coming from prison, and people coming through recovery and trying to get sober. And I came from all those areas, right? I barely graduated high school. I think they let me graduate just to get me out of the school. And, I went to college. I've been to 6 colleges. And I'm probably like 9 credits away from being a sophomore right now. College and I didn't, I had a lot of fun in college, but I didn't really do college. So that didn't work out for me. And I left college and went into the job field, right? And I got a job with the family business because I didn't think you could get fired from the family business, but I ended up getting fired from the family business twice. Got into this, that, and the other thing, really got addicted, been arrested 25 times, spent 4 years in prison, got out of prison, got a job as a bartender. Things went sideways from that point. And I ended up getting sober in 2006. And I worked my way through sobriety, starting out with an $8.25 an hour job, loading and unloading trucks, and worked my way up in that company to a salesperson. Then went and took a job as a salesperson with a plastics fabrication company, worked my way up to general manager there. Ended up getting into the sober living business, owned 6 sober living homes, trying to help other people coming out of jail, coming out of prison, coming out of treatment. And through that, I had known Colin, who's one of the original owners of ProWest. I've known Colin since pretty much the day I got sober in 2006. And I met Bob along the way, who's another owner. And so being in the sober living business, and at the time, ProWest had that one office, the far right, that was it. The one down on the far right of that strip was the only office ProWest had, and the rest of it was Evolution Way Treatment Center. And so we had a deal where some people would come out of Evolution Way, and we would put them in our sober living. So I got to know Bob and develop a relationship with Bob. And I was over at Evolution Way one weekend to do a fantasy football draft with Bob. All right, and he's like, they had been talking to me about coming into the roofing business, and finally he's like, so how much time do you actually spend working at your sober living job? Right? And I said, I don't know, sometimes 10 hours a week. Sometimes 20 hours a week. He said, well, why don't you try selling roofs part-time, right? Why don't you just come on and try it part-time? I was like, all right. So in, what was that, 2017, 2018?
2018.
2018. August of 2018, I decided to come on and try selling roofs part-time, just to see how it went. And like Tom said, there was 15 project
I came on
managers.
in July.
Yeah.
July, and you came in August.
Yep, there's 15 project managers at the time. And we have awesome trainings and everything right now at ProWest. The training at that point, my training consisted of, they gave me a stack of contracts and said, go get them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that
Just
was
fed to
training.
the wolves. Yeah.
Go get them.
Yeah.
And, but it turned out, that I was good at it,
Yeah.
and I had no idea that I'd be good at it. I left the job as the general manager of the plastic fabrication company. I was making like 65, 70 grand a year, thinking I was killing it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Thinking, somebody that has no education, out of prison, making 70 grand a year, like, that's
I'm hanging
great.
out.
Yeah, I'm murdering it.
Yeah.
And ended up coming to work, and after maybe 2 months, it became evident that I needed to do this full time.
Yeah.
And it just took off from there, man. And like Tom said, the money has been absolutely life changing for me and my family. I've developed relationships with customers, right? Like, it's not about, for me, it's not about selling the roof. It's not about selling the shingles. Yeah. Like, everybody, like, there's roofing companies all over the valley now, right?
Yeah.
A lot of them came from ProWest and went out on their own and started their own roofing companies, and they're selling the same shingles that I'm selling, right? They're selling the same underlayment that I'm selling, all the components.
Same pitch,
they have the same pitch. They're using the same crews, right? So what needs to separate me from them is my relationship with the customers. And I have customers who I did roofs for back in 2018 that I still get phone calls from. There was this lady, older lady, that I did a roof for, and I still from time to time will stop over, see if she needs her trash taken out, see if she needs anything. She texts me every year on Christmas and Easter, and still calls me her roof angel.
Yeah, that's
right?
cool.
And was able to fight her insurance company and get her the roof that she needed to get. Yeah. And so my business became more referral based. Yeah. Like, I had a lot of people will call and say, hey, you did a roof for my cousin, my uncle, my aunt, my nephew, my friend, whatever. Can you come out and take a look at mine? And, it's so you asked about, like, how it has, being in this business has impacted my life, right? Yeah. And it has impacted my life in the sense that, like Tom said, I could have never imagined that being in the roofing business could change my life and the life of my family in such a way that it has. I am, as a uneducated ex-methamphetamine addict, ex-alcoholic, ex-con, right? To have the life that I have today, man, I'm forever grateful that I made it to this industry. Like Billy said, a lot of luck. A lot of luck. Meeting the people that I needed to meet, and Bob, man, I'll always appreciate Bob for just pushing me, pushing me to go give it a shot and see how it worked out.
Yeah, let's just go do this. Let's give it a shot. Yeah. No, I think it's fascinating. I mean, it's so, because that story is reflected, time and time again. Yeah. And it's just so powerful, dude. And I think that directly ties to the culture, the feel when you're in the office, the feel when you're in this space.
And that thing that you were mentioning, that was the first I heard about working with the military. That's awesome. Yeah, that's the first I heard.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool.
I heard about it. That's cool.
Yeah, because there's
two different programs we're opening up.
So. Yeah, Lindsay talked to me about that.
Yeah, well, and there's a couple things you guys have mentioned similar to the veteran, but like the ability to mentor your team, the ability to have your son as a partner, right? And like what that impact has brought to your family. I had mentioned this on the last time we sat, but like the referral The referral business is crazy inside of roofing. You know, it's 50% of our jobs, right? Like,
I very rarely go out looking for new business anymore
yeah,
because I don't have time.
yeah,
I mean, we try and make the time, and we have a new property management company that we're working with right now. They're waiting on an answer for an apartment complex, but like, we're truly blessed. And I take the way I used to treat the Banner Healths of the world, the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, the doctor's offices, that type of customer service and follow-up and communication, and I do that with all my customers.
yeah.
And time and time again, I hear people tell me that, like, the worst thing that they get from other contractors is just a poor communication.
Poor communication.
Yeah.
Poor communication. And I'm
Over
like,
and over and over
it's just
again.
inherent in me because I have been blessed to have that education and had that experience of working, you know, for a Fortune 500, Fortune 15 medical sales companies. You know, to take that what I used to do there into here, and then the training that I have in sales and teaching other guys. Yeah. And watching, you know, these young guys come in, and it's crazy because we're a little bit older. A little bit. I say a little bit jokingly. A lot older.
A little bit.
A lot older than
Come
some
on,
guys.
man.
Some guys, you know, but I think of them as like all my kids, you know, and watching them, you know, like succeed and now have kids and families and
Buying houses.
Yeah.
Like my son at 23, my oldest son, bought a house at 23 years old.
Yeah, which is crazy. And,
Like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
With
I
a
couldn't
huge,
imagine that at 23.
No.
right?
But it's
right?
even more
I hadn't
important now.
even been to prison yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, and he did that.
Yeah.
And my youngest son now, my oldest son doesn't work for us anymore. He had some health issues. He's working for another company, but, you know, my youngest son, who's 22, is now my partner, and, you know, I told him, hey, this is my goal. I want to do $2.4 million in total sales this year.
Yeah.
He's like, okay,
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Let's go get it.
And
Yeah.
we'll get there.
We'll get it.
We'll get it.
We'll do the 23, like, even not from our backgrounds, right? Like, 22-year-olds coming straight out of
Anything.
college.
Yeah, even if you're like a straight A student.
Yeah,
you don't
buying a
get that.
house at 23 is mind-boggling
Right.
in today's
Right.
economy, right? And it's like, it's important.
Renting a house is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Right.
Communist.
Renting
Yeah.
a house and not an
Yeah.
apartment.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so-
You know, we were talking about the changes at ProWest over the years, and to watch the way that everything's changed is crazy. I remember that when our previous CEO left and Billy came on as the CEO, I was a little hesitant. I was a little
we both were. We were like, who is this
I'm like,
guy?
I don't know, man. I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Like this,
Greg, what's up?
Yeah, who is this dude?
It seems a little suspect, right?
Yeah.
But I can tell you that that's one of the best things that's happened to the company since I've been there.
He's gonna get a big.
I know,
now.
but I'm
Come
just
on.
saying, like the job that you've done and the things that you do over there is awesome, and I appreciate that. You know, my partner Anthony and I, we'd always every year, like on the leaderboard as far as sales go, we were always top 1, 2, or 3 every year. Mm-hmm. And then we started bringing on all these new guys and all these young hungry cats, and all these people come on, and they're out there murdering it, and they're out there hustling, and I'm not anywhere on the board.
Yeah.
And so I've recently made it this, like, I started listening to these pep talk podcasts, you know, these pep
Like, all right,
talks.
let's go get it. Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I gotta get my spot back.
Yeah, dude, like get fired up. Like,
Yeah.
I've made a decision. Like, nobody's going to outwork me, and I'm going to get busy again because I started to get a little complacent with the referrals and things like that, and not really having to go out and hustle and grind, and now I'm getting bypassed by these 22, 23, 24-year-olds, and I don't like it.
Yeah, it's true, because that is what year one looks like. I mean, year one is such a hustle.
Yeah.
And it's like, I gotta get this, and I can imagine it's easy to, all right, let's sit back on the heels, especially when you're the roof angel, right?
I'm still making great money. Like, why? Yeah. Why hurt myself?
Right. Why work on Sunday?
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Yeah. But that mentality for me is really important. I mean, because it's just the consistent, in order to make it in the door-to-door space, this commission-only space, right? That's why the veteran program and like having a 90-day window
Yeah.
where you're
Gives you
able to
time.
get earnings, and because that's the biggest hurdle, right? Is like those first 5-6 months.
You don't have 10, 15 grand saved up to go
yeah.
not get paid for a few months.
That's
Yeah.
stressful.
Nobody
So,
has that.
Fortunately, I had the sober living businesses going, so
Yeah.
like I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
But I see it with
Yeah.
with new people that come on, like the stress of that. And
Yeah.
Like trying to get that first 5% of the ACV check so they can so that they can pay their car insurance.
Yeah.
So they don't get pulled over driving.
Lose a
Driving
car.
around
Yeah.
trying to sell jobs, right?
Yeah. In an Astro van.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. It's just, it's always been like such a cool, because it really shows. It really shows that this industry is full of dudes that will not take no for an answer.
Right.
Yeah, men and women, where it's like, no, I'm
Yeah, I
going
mean,
to
a
go
lot
get
of-
what's mine.
A lot come in and a lot go out, but
Yeah.
the ones that stick around are
Yeah, they're going to
Gangsters,
find
yeah.
their way. Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit. I think it's a good thing to talk about, like the mentorship, like you guys were talking about, like being able to bring somebody from the ground up. Like, what's your experience on that? Either of you.
I mean, it's. I mean, we both had a lot of experience with that. I love working with new guys. I love trying to show them, and it's really cool when that light bulb goes off.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a weird thing because you hear from them every day, and then all of a sudden the light bulb goes off, and you don't hear from them very much anymore because
Yeah,
they
you don't
understand.
need
They
to.
don't
Yeah,
need
but you're
to,
like, yo, are you
which
good?
is great.
Like-
I mean, don't get
Yeah,
me wrong.
yeah.
There's always that guy that calls you 15 times in one day.
Yeah,
So what?
yeah.
Wait. Okay. Well, I'll meet you at the office, and we're just going to do all this at once. It is very rewarding. I mean, it's also, it's financially rewarding too. We make overrides on these guys.
Yeah.
But it is really cool. I can honestly say both of us, most of the guys that we have trained early on have left to start other ventures and done other things and are successful.
gone to other companies.
And gone on to other companies, which is good and bad, We've also seen some leave and come back.
Yeah.
But just to see there and see that light bulb go off and then be successful, and get married and have kids and it's
start their life. Yeah.
Start their life. It's a really cool thing to see. For me, is I'm not having any more kids. Grandkids is next.
Yeah.
In due time. But I don't know. You mean you already have grandkids?
Yeah, my first one.
Yeah, he's got one.
She just turned one.
He's
last
got one.
week.
So I got one married and hopefully
Yeah,
one.
it's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
So really cool. But it's really cool to see the young people in this organization doing well and it's cool because everybody celebrates everybody else's success.
Yeah.
It's not like, there's some inherent competition.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, I want to be number one on the leaderboard, but it's not.
But
it's
I want you to be
it's
number
not
two.
nasty.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's more pushing each other.
I'll
to
let you
do
get
better.
close.
Yeah.
It's more pushing each other to do well.
Yeah.
But we all celebrate each other's success, and it's for me, been doing it for a while, watching these new guys come in. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a couple. What Chris did, 3 something this year, or whatever it was. Oh my God, that is awesome. I'm super, super happy for you because I know what it's like to do that type of volume because I've done it.
Yeah.
Right, and think to myself, I got to get back there.
Yeah.
So that's why I brought Carson on board because it was like this delta for me. It's like I could do 1.8 million by myself, and 1.1 is like comfortable. 1.2 is comfortable. I can't do over 2 million by myself.
Yeah.
I will. It's just too much to stay sane. I can do it, but I don't.
lose your mind.
I actually
Yeah.
like my new wife.
You enjoy work-life balance.
I enjoy work-life balance, and that's one of the things that's really great with this. We've had a busy week. There's lots of Friday mornings. I've worked 50, 60 hours that week.
Yeah.
On Friday morning, want to peel out early on a Friday afternoon. I don't need to call Billy and check with him. He'd be like, "What?
Yeah.
Like go
Is it
home?
okay if
dude.
I go home early, Billy?"
I don't care.
Yeah.
But don't have one of your customers call the office and complain that you're not calling them back.
Yeah, the communication side.
But it's just the flexibility with this job and watching the new guys grow and partnering. We partnered up recently on the key accounts team, and I don't know. It's just a really cool life.
Yeah.
That we have. We just got back from Oahu. We all three, Anthony, his partner, and our wives, we all went to dinner one night. It's just really a cool. It's just family.
It is. It's a tight knit community.
Yeah.
And Tom said a couple of things that made me think. So I've been sober for 18 years.
Yeah, way longer than me.
Sponsor a lot of guys.
Yeah.
And bringing on new guys, he says, to watch the lights come on, like it reminds me of when I sponsor guys, you never know. You never know who's going to stick around, who's not.
Yeah.
You never know who's going to be willing to do the work and who's not. I tell them all, I'm willing to help you as much as you're willing to help yourself, and I'm not willing to do more than you're willing to do.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with the new guys when they come in. As much as they're willing to be trained, I'm willing to spend the time training them.
Yeah.
Right. If I set times for training and they decided that they're not going to show up, that's on them. Yeah. But to watch somebody come in that doesn't know anything and train them from the ground up, and then watch them go out and start killing it, right? And start building a life and start, making money and be able to, like Tom said, get married, have kids, buy a house, and to see where they came from. It's super, super rewarding.
Yeah,
and then it sucks when they say, you know what, thanks for everything, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go sell Roush down the street with what's his nuts.
Yeah. My buddy told me he's got it better. Elsewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
no, because I feel that on my side with I've ran entry level, the phone room and canvassing for so long. It's I watch these dudes 18 years old walk into a phone room just trying to have a day job, having no idea what they're walking into. No. Right? They start meeting the guys, they start seeing what the sales guys are doing, they start really getting and understanding what this industry is and watching them grow and prosper. And one of my favorite stories actually is a marketing intern, dude. I hired this girl fresh out of school. For 40s, and trained her up, and she was my right hand, and we tackled a bunch, and I think it was 9 months, maybe a year later, she comes to me and she's like, hey, Sprouts offered me a job to run the regional marketing division. And hey, they offered me good, and I was like, hey, I can't. You're hell yeah, you know what I mean? That's me doing my job right. That's me doing 100%. What I'm supposed to do, right? You got trained, you got comfortable, you succeeded, your path continued somewhere else. I don't care about the somewhere else part personally, right? It's I did what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to put you on a platform, put you on a progression plan. Let's cool. Teach you. Yeah. It's buying houses, and you know what I mean? It's just it's amazing, dude. I wanted to transition over to you to talk about management of stress, and I want to transition to you guys as well. But obviously, there's different stress factors, and some of the things you deal with on the supplier side, or the manufacturer side, or just general, what it's like to be in the shoes of a CEO, president of a fast-growing, large-scale business, and what that looks like on a day-to-day, where that balance is, where your disciplines sit. What does that look like for you?
I think a lot of us men handle stress a certain type of way, and we just kind of push it down a little bit, and I don't like to show stress or show that I'm stressed with anybody. And because you got to be some kind of a rock in the office. If the leaders are showing stress, everyone's like, what's going on? Are we crumbling?
Yeah.
Am I fired tomorrow? Are we doing layoffs? Are we doing this?
My resume
And it's no, we just got a price hike from OC or IKO or GAF or whatever. It's that kind of thing. But it's people start worrying. If the leaders are worried, they're worried.
Yeah.
So I have learned over the years, do not show stress. And at home I don't do it either. And my wife's like, are you stressed about this? I'm like, no, I'm fine. Every answer is no, I'm good. And but I mean, things can be stressful. When we have a lot of moving parts and a lot of growth, and we're owned by private equity, and they have expectations of certain things we're doing. So you got to uphold that while you're still trying to grow. And we have a lot of different personalities and a lot of different things that's going on. There's issues when you become this big, and we did 60 million last year. There's issues that comes with that, and trying to grow all these different departments and the headaches you get with that, and the different personalities you have with those, and you got to make sure you have the right people in the right spaces, and just trying to grow creates that anxiety. Am I good enough to do this? Because obviously I've only been here for 9 months at ProWest, and I dealt with stress before and had to deal with a ton of stuff back at the previous company. But it's what do I go from here? Am I making the right decision? There's multiple times any decision is better than no decision. So there's been some times at ProWest where I made a decision and I felt instantly bad after, because I'm a big people pleaser and I want to make sure everyone's taken care of and whatnot. But like, it is tough in the day to day, and there is a lot of moving parts, and you got to deal with, across the country in South Carolina and North Carolina and all these other things we got going on over there. And like, everyone has different needs, over there, they need a lot more money in marketing, and they need, a different motivational factor to keep them moving and grooving. It's just a different breed over there, and, it's just different. But anxiety, you just got to deal with it. You just got to keep pushing.
You just got to handle it.
If I let something take me out, I'm not in the position I need to be in.
Yeah.
I have to keep moving. I have to keep growing. I have to keep everybody growing. I got to keep everybody happy, at least semi-happy, And you just got to keep pushing and keep moving in the right direction. Somebody's got to keep moving that needle and keep rowing the boat. And if these leaders, if us as leaders, we stop, then people get lost underneath us, and then there's way more problems in the future. I want to keep growing. I want to keep getting bigger. I want to keep seeing those lights turn on. I want to keep seeing everybody become successful. And like, if we keep growing in these other states, like I want people out of the Arizona office or the South Carolina office or New Mexico office to go run these other states and like grow themselves in their success. And there's just so much opportunity.
Yeah.
So I can't let that anything stop me, because like there's too many opportunity. There's too much out there.
Yeah.
Nevada opening up, tons of opportunity. Just tons. And like I went to New Mexico last week. Mind you, I went to South Carolina, North Carolina. I got back, went to that Hawaii trip, got back, and then went to New Mexico and just got back last week. And like, it's been a lot of traveling, but New Mexico last week, tons of damage, tons of insurance-related damage, tons of storm damage. I was flying into a dust storm, and like I'm looking out the plane windows and it's just dust. I'm like, what the fuck did I get myself into? And I'm flying down, the plane's getting all crazy, and then land, and then I see tumbleweeds all over the place when I'm driving to the office. I'm like, motherfucker,
Where am I?
Yeah.
But I get there,
just walk to?
and start talking with everybody, start meeting with everybody, and they're like, let's go see some damage. And they take me out, and like we're driving around that night, and like, dude, there's just missing shingles everywhere. All their flats are like Adobe style. They have tons of different layers, tons of money in what they're doing over there on these flat roofs. And we were just driving around for a minute. I was like, dude, this is perfect. I'm like, I'm going to get everybody from Arizona, and we're going to get the fuck out here, and we're going to do a blitz, and we're going to go show these guys how it's done and show you what you can really do in the roofing industry. There's tons of money out here, And like that, it takes a little bit of hunger, because when you don't see all these other people that are like really like that 1, 2, 3 million plus guys, because it's a newer market over there, they haven't had that chance to really see that. But when you see those dudes that are out there signing, 30 contracts a week, helping all these homeowners, like doing all this crazy stuff, and they're getting their checks, and they're at that plateau, you're like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, I've never seen this before. I didn't know this is even possible. So once you see it's possible and you see it's attainable, and then you go out and get it, it's good. It's good seeing other people that are motivated and hungry, because what's the word?
It's contagious.
It's contagious.
It is contagious.
Yeah. You see one dude hungry, and this other guy gets hungry, or this girl gets hungry, and they're like, and then it just spreads.
This, yeah.
And then you're like, well, if he can do it,
Yeah, I can do it.
I remember when we first started, the other 15 guys that were there, I'm looking around going, and not to like toot my own horn, but I came from, corporate USA.
Yeah, you came from the Astro van.
Yeah.
you had the Astro van.
But I have
you
Astro
better toot
van.
that horn.
But before that, I mean, I worked for, huge multi-billion-dollar companies.
Yeah.
Selling CT scanners and lab analyzers and all these things, right? To trying to figure out how to feed my kids, trying to get back up there. And I see these young guys driving $100,000 trucks. Like, oh my God, like I can do this.
I'm gonna crush this.
I can do this. I can do this. But it's hard. It's not easy because there's a lot of factors that go with it, right? Like, one of the good things is Billy if I don't get up and work today, Billy doesn't know.
He's not gonna call
he
you
doesn't
and
care.
find out where
He
you're
might
at.
know because we got some deals we're working on together. But you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's kicking me out of the house at 6 o'clock in the morning or 5 or whenever I leave.
There's no clock in, clock out.
There's no clock in, no clock out.
If you want, I can start calling you guys at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Seeing what's going on.
I left the house at 4:15 yesterday. So yeah, it just depends. But I guess my whole point is, like, there's a lot of ways that you can kill yourself in this job, and one of them is by not doing it.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when I first started, I had a partner and we got some really big checks. And next thing you know, we're like fat bank accounts, what we thought was fat, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we're not on salary. That money goes away.
That goes away.
Very quick.
And it goes quick. And you start buying stuff, and guess what? Next thing you know, you're like, oh, I
guess I better go to work
keep
again.
that pipeline full.
Yeah.
You know?
I need a draw.
This is cyclical, right? It's a cyclical thing that you got to do. But I mean, it's just incredible. Yeah. It's just absolutely incredible, and it's amazing.
I've never had to do that.
Take
What's
a draw.
that?
Take a draw.
Yeah.
Oh, I did when I first started, for sure.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. You know, the most successful people I've seen are like, it's just treat it like a job. Like you know what I mean? Like I work Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday or whatever it looks like. I mean, Drew is a big catalyst of that. When I talk to Drew, I mean, he's a monster, right? He's doing crazy volume. Monster. And he's like, I work Monday through Thursday. I handle some paperwork stuff on Friday. He's like, most of America would love a 4-day work week. Right? And he's like, I'm able to sit here and do a 4-day work week and make doctor money. But you'll find these guys that'll get, a big job, and they're like, all right, I'm going to
get complacent.
Yeah, I'm going to hang out for a few months. I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to buy my girl a bag. Like,
Show up in the sports car.
Business.
Yeah. And so it's just, but I did want to transition to you had brought up storms. And obviously there's the sales aspect of storms, but there's also like the client aspect of storms. I think there was a big storm in 2018. I'm sure you guys remember. It was like July of 18.
That's when I started.
Yeah, and like that was my first experience, boots on the ground, of understanding the investment side of this, right? Where you have people whose entire roofs are peeled back. Like you guys, you have people in a disaster state. Everything they own is now compromised, and it's out to the wind. And you're coming in as like a last line of defense, and it's. That experience taught me a lot of like, it's not just the sales, it's not the money, it's the community as well. So maybe touch on that if you guys want, of like your first like real storm, like the roof angel story, like what did that look like? You know what I mean?
So the thing is, that we can say that we've, as a company, have been in business in Mesa, Arizona since 2002, right? Because you get a big storm. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the roofing business in 2010 when we had that hailstorm that tons of people got to retire off of. I wasn't doing this at that point. But there were people roofing companies coming from everywhere, storm chasers, right? And so there's a lot of times where, like, if there's a storm and you hit a certain area and you're knocking on doors, you'll be perceived as a storm chaser. But when we can explain to them and show them that we're a local company, we've always been a local company, and we'll always be a local company. We're not going anywhere.
I live down the street.
Yeah, exactly. I'm your neighbor.
Yeah.
That gives us the credibility and gets them to put their guard down a little bit, and then to realize that we're really there to help them and not try to sell them something. Yeah. Right. And once you can convey that that I'm here to help you instead of I'm here to sell you. I'm here to try and get some money out of your pocket for something I'm trying to sell you. It changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and pitching a product that is, 20, 30 grand for, $1,000 or $2,000 for the deductible. You got a storm coming in. You better utilize your insurance and not wait that 1 year, 18 months before you can't make a claim. And then once you see you're having problems and you got interior damage and drywall damage and all this stuff going on.
You got mold in the walls.
I wish I would have got my roof done by one of those guys that knocked on my door, but I didn't. I thought it was a scam.
Whatever. Yeah. And I say that all the time to people. I'm like, look, like what I'm offering you here is you need to get this done. Yeah. Your deductible is $1,000. I'm offering you a $30,000 roof for $1,000. Yeah. Like where else in the world can you go and get a deal like that?
Yeah, my favorite thing to say is I'll give you a Corolla for $1,000. You know?
I mean, the other side of it is, we've all have stories of homeowners that rightfully were due a new roof, and the insurance company doesn't want to give it to them. Yeah. Because for whatever reason. And we, with our knowledge and experience over the years, things we've learned, help these homeowners get their roofs approved. Yeah. Because, not to bash insurance companies, because that's not what I'm here for, but typically, most insurance companies aren't coming out and writing you a fat check in the very beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Insurance is still
we've
a
seen it over and over
business.
again where we show up, the homeowner already had the adjustment. Well, they only bought, 83 shingles on my roof, and the roof's shredded.
Yeah.
You know, and we take it from that point to full replacement, and help them get
to what they're rightfully owed.
That's how you get called the roof
right.
angel, by
Exactly.
through that process.
Yeah.
Because it's usually the elderly person that's on a fixed income. Yeah. They can't write a $30,000 check for a new roof. They can't write a $15,000 check.
Yeah.
So here they are. They've got this roof, and they can afford their deductible. Maybe with a little help from their kids sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the situations we see.
Yeah.
And these insurance companies take advantage of these people. And we're there to say, no, this is the reason why. Yeah. These are the things that you need to be looking at. These are the reasons why this roof needs to be fully replaced. So for me too, that's that other side of it, is taking care of that homeowner that otherwise would be taken advantage of by their insurance company. And we can step in and say, no, we're going to help you.
Yeah. We're
going
to
build those relationships, that's where those referrals come.
That's that warm, fuzzy feeling, seeing the new guy too.
Yeah.
Like all those things play into it for me, and make this job just amazing.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, we're about out of time. I think my last thing is, if you had something to say to somebody who's right on the edge, right? Maybe they're in another door knocking industry, maybe they're in another sales industry, they're a trades guy. What would be a summary of why, come make the jump, dude. Come get in this with us.
So, like I said, I'm not educated. I'm definitely not the smartest person I've ever come across.
Pretty smart.
Pretty smart.
You're pretty smart.
You're also pretty jacked.
You are pretty jacked.
Pretty jacked. I spent some time in prison. I was addicted to methamphetamine for years, and I've come into this business uneducated, with no background at all in any kind of construction, other than I got fired from a job on the first day because I almost ran foreman over with a tractor. But that's my only experience in the construction industry. And I've come into this, and I received a commission check one week commission check of $163,000, right? No education. And I mean, those are not common. I don't get those checks all the time, but the fact that I got a check of that size tells you that this business is can be very rewarding, personally rewarding, but also financially rewarding. If you are a motivated person, you need to be self-motivated person, ready to get up every day, hit the streets, grind, do what's got to be done. There is no limit to how much money you can make. That's the thing. There's no cap on how much money I can make in this business. And that is, that's amazing, right? That is exciting, and I want to see how high that number can go. I want to see. Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah.
I want to see you make
7 figures. I mean, there's 7-figure earners in this space,
sure.
right?
Yeah, there's people making 7 figures a year in this business.
I don't know. For me, I mean, it's definitely about the money, 100%. But for me, money is freedom, right? I don't have to go punch a clock every day. I'm my own boss for the most part, But it's the feeling around everything that I do, helping out the homeowners, right? Helping out the new guys, teaching them how to do this job. And then yesterday, I'm on a roof with my youngest son. We're inspecting this roof in North Scottsdale, and I have a picture, and it's the clouds and the sun coming. I mean, what? Yeah, just absolutely amazing.
Not a bad office.
Not a bad office. You know what I mean? Not a bad office. There's a picture of me that I took earlier this year. It was up in northern Arizona. You guys have seen it. Just all the trees and just what? I get paid to do this? Yeah. It's crazy.
The fact that all 4 of us were in Hawaii 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Right. And that's the other thing is, more times than not, what I do doesn't feel like a job.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that's the thing. More
Yeah.
times than not, it doesn't feel like a job.
Yeah, I don't get up in the morning going, God,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, what do I got to do today?
Yeah.
It's not like that.
It's just,
There's days where I'm like, oh my God, I got a lot to do.
Yeah,
Right.
Like,
yeah,
I need to
of
get
course.
organized. I need to get it done. I need to delegate, But this job is rewarding. It doesn't feel like a job. There's that saying, that meme that basically says something like, find something to do to make money that doesn't feel like work. And that's what I did. That's why I'm here. So
Yeah.
it's amazing.
100%.
I mean, the takeaway from what we've been talking about today is like, you don't have to have any kind of background. You could be from whatever background. You could have come out of prison. You could have just been getting sober. You could, be 18 with no experience. You could have completely fucked up the rest of your life, but you can still turn it around and be successful. And we see those stories every single day. And whether it's doing sales or working in the office and operations or finance or, on the canvassing team or the phone room or marketing, or QA/QC or all these different things that go along with the roofing company, like you can find your niche and become successful.
Yeah.
And I didn't, like, we were small when I first started in the roofing industry, and I didn't think I was going to be the president, in 8 years, or the chief operating officer in a few years. I didn't know the effect of this thing and how quickly we're going to grow, and the amount of success I could have in this industry. And I mean, it's better to start now than later. Don't wait for this thing, because you're gonna waste precious time.
Yep.
Especially in like being in drug use for so long and doing all the things I used to do. I was like, dude, I wasted a lot of fucking time. But if I didn't go do that, I would not be in the place I am today. Like, I'm grateful for drug use. I'm grateful for my homelessness. I'm grateful for all the times I had to go into rehab and detox and fuck my life up so many times. Because if I missed one of those steps, I wouldn't have my son. I wouldn't have my daughter. I wouldn't have my wife. I wouldn't have this position. I wouldn't have the friends I have today. I wouldn't be able to see all these different changes in all the lives around me. So I'm very, very happy and very grateful for the past I've had and all the years leading up to this point. Because if one little thing changed, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, and I can only reflect everything you guys are saying. I mean, it's just that, right? It's from any walk of life. It's not a prerequisite that you have to do drugs. If you're also fresh out of college.
To work for ProWest.
Yeah, if you're also fresh out of college,
We have
there's
people
still
that are in
What,
recovery.
if you are in recovery,
yeah,
there's not
Yeah,
a
come
better
eat.
place. There's not a
Yeah, it's
better place
amazing.
in the world to work, man.
Yeah.
You got a lot of support.
Yeah.
and a lot of people who are who understand where you're at.
yeah, we'll show you the way.
Absolutely.
Right, we'll show
Come-
you the
come
path. But yeah, so if this is something that you're interested in, tune in. We're gonna have a lot more of these coming, but there's gonna be a link attached to this video. Follow that. Reach out to us. Let's get this journey started. Come change your life. So yeah, thank you guys again, and till next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.